Well, there we are. Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of Standout Women Live. I am your host, Michelle B Griffin, and today is a very special day because we are talking about the things you need to do when you approach mid-career. You're not done yet. You're just getting started. So this is a very special day because my guest tomorrow is turning Fab 50. Notice I say Fab 50. She's on the show today to tell us all about her journey from 40 to 50 and a new movement, message, and book. A whole platform she's launching called 50 Not Finished. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Julie Ciardi.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm so excited to be here. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart, so I can't wait to dive in. It's going to be good.
You know, a lot of us come to mid-career, midlife, whatever you want to call it. You even have this incredible as the midlife rally advocate and mentor you are, you actually love to call this mid part of life the B side, the flip side, which you can tell us in a minute. But so many of us like one day wake up and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm here. What do I do?" But you did the kind of the opposite. Almost 10 years ago, when you were at IBM, a vice president of marketing, you looked around and said, "Oh, wow." So I don't want to fill in the words anymore. Tell us your incredible story so we can all find inspiration.
Yeah, no, I love sharing this story because it was other people telling stories like this that helped me to get the courage to make some really bold moves in my life. Really, at the start of midlife, I think you turn 40. That's kind of the start of midlife.
Mhm.
I think in a lot of ways, but I mean, midlife is so subjective. I mean, what is it, right? It could be any age, but personally, I think when you start to get the nudge in your body, you feel it. You're like, I don't know. Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I in the right place? Should I be? Is this the career I'm meant to have? Is this what's next? And you start to have that feeling. To me, that's that opportunity to stop, reevaluate, reassess, maybe redecide, redefine what it is you really want. And for me, that happened in my early 40s. I was turning 42. I had just had my third child actually at 40. So I had my third and last child at 40. And I just knew in my soul that I wasn't doing the work I was meant to do in this world.
Yes.
And had success. By all, I mean, I was a vice president of marketing at IBM. We had a big, beautiful home, 3 kids, the vacations, all the things. We had a great lifestyle. And I was happy with my family, but I really was not happy at work. I
Mhm.
actually felt like a different person when I was at work. I started to really feel the physical effects of knowing that I wasn't doing what I was meant to do in the world. And I really started a whole process around 41 or so, right around 41, 42, of starting to at least look, what else is there? What else could I possibly do? And I think that what happens for so many of us is that we are on this trajectory upwards
Mhm.
of, especially us type A's who want to be successful and keep growing, and I remember when I started at IBM, first thing was I wanted to become a manager, and then I wanted to become an executive, and then I wanted to become a vice president, and just kind of, growing in the responsibilities and in the pay and in the promotions and all the things. But I wasn't loving what I was doing. But at the same time, my family's entire lifestyle was now in line with that career, that
Mhm.
salary, and so I call it the income lifestyle trap,
Yes.
because you're trapped almost, right? Because how do you get out of that now? So I started to look for other things that I wanted to do. I was looking into maybe doing my own business. I started to look at maybe some other industries that I could bring my marketing skills to. Everything I looked at was a fraction of what I was making at IBM. And I knew that if I was going to leave and start my own business, I knew I wasn't going to be paying myself anywhere near what I was making at IBM, at least in the very beginning. That's just not possible.
Mhm.
And so it was really hard. It was like a trap, because what do you do? Like, and it really caused me to um, talk about reassessing. We ended up selling our house, Michelle.
Oh,
We
wow.
sold our house, we downsized, we made some really big moves so that I could pursue what really lit me up in my soul. And that's what I did. And we can talk a little bit more about that too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love that. I mean, I found this hit me too. And I knew that I was not growing. And for me, I bubbled up what I had in my dream when I was 20s was back then I had my own PR agency, but now it looked like kind of my own consultancy. And I was kind of like in a hamster wheel because I kept, as you were asking, where do we go? What do we do? You looked around. I looked around and I stayed in a hamster wheel. So at least you took action because that's why I'm writing Own Your Lane. I don't want anyone to get trapped and not figure out where to go next. But I know fast forwarding, you looked around, you started a boutique, and then you got into some other marketing things that led you to the path. So explain that to that little section from looking, downsizing, preparing. Where do women go next as we're sharing this journey with them?
Well, I think, we all want to just know what our purpose is, and it's like that's like the big question, like, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? And I remember when I started to really start to ask that question around 41, 42, I didn't know what the answer was.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, you fast forward now, I'm turning 50, all the thousands of women that I've gotten to work with or, to teach or, to share the message with, it's what I've learned in that time is that your purpose it's not about finding it and figuring it out and then knowing it. It is such an evolution over the course of your lifetime, and it actually never ends. So it's a process of discovery. It really starts to unravel. The next step getting revealed as you take a step. So the biggest thing, and what happened
Yes.
for me, was it was just starting to actually ask the question. And I call it going from a someday goal to a now goal.
Yes.
So I had the someday goal of leaving IBM, starting my own business, like for several decades. It wasn't like I hit 41, 42 and that was time. No, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Caroline, my daughter who's turning 21 this month, I was pregnant with her and I was exploring some options to start my own business. So it was it was there in my DNA.
Yeah.
But I kept saying someday. I felt like it was too risky. I was, afraid that what if it failed? And this, staying at IBM seemed more the sure thing. And so I kept pushing it off and saying someday. And when you say something's going to be someday, you're not doing the
It's
work
not a day.
on it
It never
now.
happens. Yeah.
Or you just like if you say something someday, in the present moment, you're not doing anything to make it
Yeah.
happen, right? So what
True.
happens is that you can't see opportunities, you can't start to nothing is happening. Nothing is like there's no catalyst, right? To start making it happen. It's just out there. I call it a now goal is when you take that thing you keep saying someday and you say, nope, I want to make this happen. I don't know when it's going to fully happen, but I'm going to start working on it now. And that's just a decision. So I think that when you make the decision
Mm-hmm.
that you're serious about exploring what's next, when you make a decision and you're serious about going deeper in what your purpose is based on all the experience that's led you to this moment, when you make that decision, it's amazing what starts to unravel. You start to get the answers. You start to notice things. You start to really get that discovery of what you're here to do starts to really, truly start to unravel. But it has to be something that you are serious about and you make it a now goal versus a someday goal.
And you're going to be talking about that, and I think it'll be in your book. But here's the thing: action breeds the clarity, the courage, the confidence, and the context of how to get out there. That's why I always talk till I'm blue in the face about put yourself out there. Now I have Own Your Lane to tell you the 4 steps how to do it. But you're telling us the purpose. We're looking for that elusive purpose, but it's not just this one and done. It's the journey, and you have to get out there to go figure it out. And the more you go, the faster you go. It just becomes clearer and clearer. So when we sit on the sidelines or never start at all, we never get there. And then we go deeper and deeper in despair. We are hidden, helpless, held back. I'm raising my hand because that's how I felt those 5
Yeah,
years
me
when I
too.
was just spinning.
Two
Yeah,
decades I
yeah.
sat there.
Wasted time. And
Mhm.
I was doing credentials and courses. I mean, I had a master's in PR and I was like, no, I need all this stuff. And
Yeah.
no, you know what got me out there, Julie? About 2 years into it, I said, well, this isn't kind of working. Not knowing, I did exactly what you're saying. I started putting myself out there. So I started a meetup, remember those? Or I did speak at meetups. So I started PYOTing and not realizing this was the answer. Like this all happened to me as I stumbled out there. Exactly. But then you start, one thing leads to another. it's like a puzzle piece, right? The
Yes.
dots start connecting and the little like breadcrumbs, like remember the little fairy tale Hansel and Gretel and
Yes.
they put the
Yes.
breadcrumbs out, shows you the way. Exactly.
It shows you
So
the way, and I
yes,
always say that, do you remember the connect the dots when we were little? And, like,
yes,
you could see what the picture pretty much was, but you had to, like, connect, dot
yes.
1 to 2 to 3, and you do the whole thing. I think that when you're ready to, like, take this bold move to start figuring out, like, "Okay, what's next? What is the second half of my life
Mhm.
going to start to be like in terms of the way I look at it? I'll get to the dotted line picture in a second, but it's like this idea that I truly believe that we actually don't start to master our craft and what we're here to do until after 50 or after
Mm,
we midlife. Why? Because of the culmination and accumulation of all of your skills and your
yes.
experiences. It's
They're
the
ready.
wisdom. It's why we
Yeah.
used to have elders and wise ones, and we revered people who
Yes.
had the experience of a lifetime. We don't so much anymore, and I really want to help change that. That's what 50 over here, 50 not finished is all about.
Yes.
And I think that if you know this, if you're like, wow, what if the best years of my career, my impact, what I'm meant to do on this planet are still to come?
That's
What
the
if
most
that's the
exciting
case?
thing.
What's a
Yes.
great right? So what happens though is that no one's ever talked about this. What happens when you start to approach the 50s is, so when are you retiring? What's your
Yes.
retirement plan? That's the
You
conversation.
gotta break that narrative for sure.
100%. I mean, because
Yeah.
honestly, when I look at female founders and I
Mhm.
look at they're almost all over 50. They almost all started these incredible things after the age of 50. Okay. That's the whole 50 not finished. It's so powerful. And so the problem though is that because no one's having this conversation, no one's taught us this. No one taught me this. I thought 50 was old, and you had to look at 55 and up communities, and I mean,
Yeah.
right? Not starting something new
Yeah.
and impactful, right? So it's like that connect the dots. It's almost, imagine getting a piece of paper and it has the 1 and the 2 on it. And that's it.
Yeah.
Everything else is blank. All you have to do is go to connect from 1 to 2, and then 3 appears. And then
Yeah.
you connect to 3, and then 4 will come, and then 5.
It's
And then
magic.
all of a
Yeah.
sudden, if
It
you
truly
keep,
is magic.
yes, and
It
if you
really
keep taking
is.
steps forward, it starts to get revealed. I promise, I promise, I promise. What I can tell everyone is that at 42, when I made the decision I was going to leave IBM and start my own thing, I did not know what it looked like at all. I
No
did
one's
not
talking
know.
about it.
No,
No.
you don't. You're not going to. And I think that's what stops people. They want everything known, certain, in a box, wrapped up,
That's our
right?
culture.
Here's my business.
Yes.
It doesn't really work like that, in all honesty.
Well, bring it on. Okay, this is perfect. So as we transition to tomorrow, you're turning 50, but several months ago, you and even before, you had an idea for this, and then earlier this year, you coined 50 not finished because you're so right. No one's talking about it. If they do, it's the wrong narrative. On my walk the other day, Julie, we talk about aging. And I remember when you and I were together here in Florida, you said, aging, we start aging the day we're born. And so, right. So on my walk the other day, I'm like, let's not call it aging. Let's call it saging. Like we're the
Ooh,
sage.
yes, that's what I call it. The sage years. We are
Yeah,
seekers, and then
saging. Yes.
sowers,
It's
and
more
then
kind.
sage. But you
Yes.
got to earn it. And
And
I
you got to
love
get
that.
out there.
Saging. Let's go.
Yes, let's do it. So at this point, I am just dying for you to tell everyone about 50 Not Finished. You've been working on it the last 90 days. It is really launching up. And then you got the book. I want you to hold it all up. So just
Yes.
tell us all about it. It's so
Yep.
exciting. And
Coming
everyone
quickly.
I tell, oh my gosh, there's the
Okay.
book, everybody. Everyone I tell, from my mom to other friends who have turned 50 to whatever, they're like, oh my gosh. I mean, just the name alone is a
It
promise. So
speaks
let's
volumes, doesn't it?
it speaks volumes. Tell us all about it because
Yes,
not only for 50, and this is always also for women like in the mid-career, 30s, 40s, when
totally.
you want to have a vision, you should, right? So let's hear all about it.
Yeah. So, I think as I turned 47 3 years
Hmm.
ago, and I just had this nudge that I was going to prepare for turning 50. I was going to train and prepare to turn 50. It's when I started to, it was 3 years ago, that I decided I was going to embrace my natural gray silver hair. So 3 years ago, when I turned 47, I started to let it grow. It's now fully grown out. But I had a vision board. I had this vision board of what I wanted 50 to be like
Love
from a
it.
health standpoint, from my relationships, my business, the hair, silly things and really, really, really important things. And it was 3 years ago, I started to walk every day. And I was very sedentary, working on my business, like hard, working on my
Mhm.
business so hard. And I just knew I needed to get better health. I needed to get more healthy. I wanted my relationships to be the best that they could. I had children that were becoming adult children in that time
Mhm.
as well. And really getting very intentional of what I wanted my life to be like going into this next decade. And so I started preparing 3 years ago. And so in that process came the idea that I was always going to put together some kind of book to share the core lessons and teachings and what I do, with women every day. I
Mhm.
help women to ignite her and to ignite her highest self so she can step into the work she's meant to do in the world. And so I knew I was going to write a book. But as I was nearing 50 and I started to hear people talking about like 50 and how like they didn't want to turn 50 and oh, it's like aging and all this
Mhm.
stuff and just I was just watching the vibe and I'm thinking, why don't we wait a minute? We should do this differently. And because I had been preparing for 50, I felt amazing. I felt
Mhm.
better. I felt better approaching 50 than I felt approaching 40.
That's
I felt
incredible.
more excitement about what was to come going into 50 then, right? So the 50 not finished just became this fire within,
It's a
you
rally.
know? And it was
Yeah.
a rally. I feel like this is our go time. Our kids are moving on into their lives.
Yes.
And I knew I wanted to have the best relationship with them. The way to have the best relationship with them is that I'm not depending on them for my happiness.
Yes.
That
Thank you.
I had this other if I didn't have the exciting things that I was working on while both of my older 2 children were going off to college, I'd have been a puddle. Like,
Yeah.
I was a puddle for a few days, but
Yes.
I would have been really it would have been really, really, really hard because I would, not having my own thing that I was so passionate about. And so the book is really going to I'm having so much fun writing it because, like I said, I'm really bringing in the core lessons and teachings, stories from the time I was, my whole life stories that are peppered in throughout. And also, bringing in practical
Thank
solutions for
you.
people to
Yes.
find their purpose too,
Yes.
because I think that's probably, Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning,
Mhm.
he said, one of our greatest, um, uh, kind of duties in life is to find our purpose. And
I
but then
agree.
how, right? We always go, well, how do I do that? How do I do that? We all want to know how. And you
Yes.
cannot chat GPT or Google it up, or as my son Kason, who's 10, he'll be like, search it up, search it up. Anytime we want to find out anything, he's like, search it up. We can't search it up when it comes
No.
to our purpose,
It's internal. Yeah.
Like it's it's actually that is your life's work, is to really uncover, discover, evolve, step into that purpose. And it literally like just evolves as you're taking the steps. But I wanted to make it practical too.
I'm
So
glad you
the
did.
book is bringing that element in as well. And I think that that's really important. I want people to have this book in their hand. And when they do, and they read it or they listen to the Audible version, that they are so inspired
They
to
take
go
action.
yeah,
Yes.
and to go into the back half, right? The
Yes.
flip side of their mixtape, as I like to say. We're like, remember?
Yes.
We're just like, remember,
Yes.
you go,
The
listen,
B
you're
side,
over
the flip
40, you
side.
guys remember the tapes,
Yeah.
right? We had mixtapes and I just went to the Pearl Jam concert last night. So I totally had like the whole early 90s flashbacks. It was so much fun. But, we had like our boom boxes and we'd like,
Yes.
hit eject, turn the tape around, click it back in, play, and we'd get to the flip side. And that's all it is. We're just one side wasn't better than the other. And
It's
sometimes
just the other
honestly
side. It's a
could be
two-sided
even
beautiful
better.
coin.
But it's about taking that step and getting inspired that actually the best is yet to come. And if you
Yes.
have that attitude and you're taking some practical steps forward in that direction, I mean, it will happen, which is so exciting.
Well, you say this beautifully. You told me this a while ago. It's not a and you say this on your other podcast. It's not a midlife crisis. It's a midlife creation. It's self-expression. We bonded and shared, and we still do, a mutual fangirl of Florence Scovel Shinn and her game of life and how to play it. And she says the square of life is of course, I just blanked on it: health, happiness, love, and perfect self-expression. And that's what you're helping. That's really what your purpose is self-expression. And it
Yes.
doesn't mean it means whatever you want it to mean. And I really am glad that you're doing practicality, because we have a lot of people, and I try not to do this too. And this is my 3E approach when I try to teach. We want to empower people. Absolutely. Otherwise, we won't have that emotional rally to get out there. But I find lacking, especially in this dialogue, there's no practicality in how to do it. So I take a 3E approach in what I'm trying to do with my book. It's empower you, educate you why it's so important, and then equip you with the tools. And that's, if you don't make it super easy and give someone the tools, they're not going to do it. You can empower them, educate them, but unless they know how to do it. So you have the now goal. You have, I think, something called design your next decade. You have all these incredibly named things. So tell us, what are some of the things that we can look for in the book to take those next steps?
So I really think that, I really believe this. Your soul already knows. Okay. So my soul has known what I've been meaning to do and what I was meant to do and how it was going to all unfold, right? My mind and my personality and my human beingness, right? And all the society stuff and the paradigms and all the things, right? That was blocking, it blocks your soul. Just blocks your soul, right? But you already know. I want everyone to trust that they actually already have the answers inside of what they're here to do, what their genius is, what their superpowers are, what lights them up, all the things they actually already know. And part of what I have built alongside writing this book at the same time is I wanted to give everyone a tool that they could use to help speak to their soul and bypass all the junk blocking it.
Yes.
And the tool that I was using, and I'm using deeply with my clients and my students, is human design and the gene keys. And I'm obsessed. However, it takes a decoder ring, it takes an expert, it takes, quite a bit to try to get to the meaning behind some of the esoteric language and all of that. So I took the whole thing and I wrote it in my own language.
Is that those 12 things that you have that are those 12?
No,
that's
I don't even think you know this yet. I wrote my
Okay.
own chart. So now people will be able to put in their information and literally generate their
You
own
simplified it.
own Ignite Her chart.
Oh my goodness. This is
So
perfect.
it speaks to your soul, and it speaks to your soul faster. Renee knows. She's like, it worked. It literally, like, when you ever guys have something when you know something's the truth or something resonates, the hair on your body stands up?
Yeah, it's absolute.
Right?
It's just,
That's resonance. That's your soul saying that. Your soul's going,
like,
yes,
high five it.
right?
Yeah.
High five. Bob Proctor, I had the opportunity to work with him. He would always say, when you get the goosebumps, when you get that feeling across your body, that is your soul saying, yes, it's your body. It's right. It's bypassing the mind. And the way that I really took human design and the gene keys is that I wanted to simplify it and make it really applicable, especially to women, to understand their genius, their strengths, their purpose. And so people will literally be able to download their own unique booklet on them.
I love it.
So it's going to be a great next step to be able to start questioning what it is they're really here to do. So we talk about practical. People will literally be able to have their own
I had no idea you'd designed this. This makes me
I'll
so
send you the
excited.
link. I'm actually
Yes.
debuting it tomorrow at the birthday
Oh,
party.
oh, yeah. Okay. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. Before, I just want to
Mhm.
give a quick shout out to Renee
Yeah.
Lindo. She has so many beautiful things to say. And we'll come back and talk and answer all the things. We're going to shout out to Steven. He says, hello. Everyone's wishing you happy early birthday, Julie. Lisa, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow, you are not turning 50 and having this big bash. You are having a bash with so many others virtually around the world. So tell us about it. Tell us how we can sign up for it and what
Yeah.
does it look like from now going forward. Can you hold the book up again too? I
I
want to see the
love
book.
it. Yeah. The book, 50 Not Finished. So excited.
I
With I see my
love it.
elephant. See, my
Yes. Tell
elephant's
them
on
real quick
here.
about the elephants,
Yeah.
the motif about the elephants and the
Yeah. So the
meaning.
elephant, we'll start there and then I'll talk about the party. So I've always had this obsession with elephants. Like I'm a huge fan. And again, it was my soul telling me
Telling
why,
you.
right? I've always like,
Yep.
why do I love elephants? I have elephants like all different places. You gave me an elephant. Those were in my
Yep.
other office. So I I fell in love with elephants to begin with, and then I learned that they are a matriarchal herd. Sorry,
Yes.
guys, but they're a matriarchal herd, and what happens is that the oldest elephant in the herd is the wise one, is the sage, okay?
Hmm.
And everyone listens to her. She's kept them alive. They've been around for 55 million years. We've been around 300,000. And the elephants are just a beautiful example of generational wisdom.
Hmm.
And to me, I really believe generational wisdom amongst women has been missing. It's been
Needs to
very
be passed.
sparse. It used
Yes.
to be different. And I really believe that when we take the first step, each of us, into being that sage, into really going into the wisdom that they were meant to create, you get to be that torchbearer that passes that wisdom on to the next generation. You have to go first. You have to earn it. When we talk about the seeker, the sower, and the sage, I always say, like, age doesn't create you being a sage. You have to earn it.
Yeah. Pass it
You
on.
have to step into your wisdom that you're meant to share, right? And so the elephant means so much to me because I really believe that we as women have a huge part to play. I mean, the Dalai Lama said the world would be saved by the
Yes.
Western woman. And he meant, like, step into your power and your wisdom, and you can literally change let's say, not the world, but you can literally be changing all the people around you. It's like this
Yes.
ripple effect.
Yes. I wrote
And so
about
the
that
elephant's
today.
huge to me. I absolutely love it. And so knowing my 50th birthday was on a Tuesday, and knowing that I was celebrating all year, I didn't want
Mhm.
like just a regular big party. I wanted to just have all these beautiful experiences over the whole year, which has been amazing. I've been doing it pretty much all year. So on the actual day, tomorrow being a Tuesday, I said, you know what? I want to celebrate with women. I want to celebrate with our clients and our students all over the world. And I want to open it up to any woman that is interested in joining us. And what we're going to be doing is from 11 to 1 Eastern tomorrow.
Mhm.
And it's, you totally can still join us. It's not too late. It's julieciardi.com/party.
And it's on the front of your website too, I
Yep.
think, right?
Yep,
Okay.
on the front of julieciardi.com. And
Okay.
it's a party, and what we're doing is we're actually donating. It's a $5 cover charge.
Mhm.
Remember cover charges, getting into clubs?
Yeah.
It's $5 cover, and
Yeah.
we're donating that to the Menopause Society, because I also believe that in order for us to step in and be the sage, to do all the work, we gotta
You
do
gotta
it
play it
in as
forward.
optimal health as we can.
Mhm.
And so, I'm going to be sharing. I'm going to share that journey of how I trained for 50. I'm going to share like some stuff I've really never shared before. Kind of a lot of people want to know my routine or things that I'm doing, products I'm using, that kind of thing. We're going to dive into that. We're going to actually debut a chapter from the book. So
I can't wait.
everyone will get a free chapter of the book that they can download or listen to. And then everyone's getting the ability to run that chart, to run that Ignite Her
I
chart,
cannot wait.
which is brand
Yes.
new. And I'm going to give people some training of what to go do with it. Right. So
Okay.
you get it, you have yours, you print it, you read it. What do I do with it now? We're going to be talking through that as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be about thinking about your next 10 years, your next decade, and really talking through that and having some fun with that tomorrow. So I can't wait.
That's so exciting that and this book, tell us about when the book's coming out and when can we expect that when it goes in pre-sale. Tell us all that because I know you will have people wanting to sign up for that as well.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait. So the book's coming out in February of
Okay.
2025. Again, we'll have the chapter that you can download. We'll be giving that away tomorrow, and then we'll also make sure that we get you the link just to the chapter as
And
well.
then you have a podcast though and a
And I have
newsletter.
a podcast. Yep, I have the
Yes.
podcast, the 50 Not Finished Show. I wanted
Okay.
we've got some amazing guests coming soon. So there's a lot of some upfront beginning, set the stage of like things I wanted to share with people. And now we've got a bunch of guests that are coming on as well. And so the 50 Not Finished Show is there if you want to start checking out some of the content, because that's kind of mirroring a lot of what I'm putting in the book. And it's like I said, it's going to come out in February, but we're gonna start, doing some fun pre-sales and all those kinds of things as we near, further into the year. And I just can't wait. To me, this book it's just this baby. Like it's this baby that I am like so excited to bring out into
You're
the
beaming.
world.
Yes.
I was telling my dad, I saw my family over the weekend for my birthday, and I was telling my dad, I'm like, Dad, I said, the chapter that I just wrote that for people to download, I was like, you're in it. And like the biggest lesson you ever taught me, I said, is the whole point of this book, by the way. And it's a lot about self-responsibility and choice. And so I share a whole story in there about when my dad helped me to understand that at about around the age of 21. And I was telling him, and he's like, oh my God. So he's like so excited to get the chapter so we can kind of see how much that impacted me at a very young age.
And you're just beginning. So as we wrap up, Julie, this is incredible. We are cheering you on, especially an early happy birthday, and we get to celebrate with you. So again, it's Julie Ciardi /party. And you can, come to the party, get all the goodies, which I'm signed up for. I'm really excited. And then be on the lookout for the podcast and newsletter and all the things. We're just getting started. This is just the beginning. And the best is yet to come. I mean, you can make it what you want and find and take action. And I love that you are rewriting the narrative. You're stepping up. This is your purpose to rewrite the narrative, but you're giving us practical, simple ways to do it because God knows we need that, right? If we want to get out there, we need to make it so simple, so easy, so we can find our life's purpose and our life's work. So, Julie, thank you so much for being on the show today. And we're wishing you all the best of this year and more to come.
Thank you so much. It was so fun.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. That's an incredible episode. Go check out Julie and all the links. And if you're ready to get visible, head on over to michellebgriffin.com and download my 3-step audio masterclass on how to put yourself out there, get your visibility breakthrough. And until then, I'll be back next week, but keep putting yourself out there. You have a brand to build, a message to share, and people to impact. I'll catch you next week. Take care.